Happy Lunar New Year, Aries, Taurus, moon sign people. Aries in the sidereal, Taurus in the Western astrology. This moon sign reading is your annual reading that starts with your new moon. On May the 15th, the new moon will be in Taurus, and over the next 12 months, Great Mother is going to let you know how your soul is wanting to align. In other words, how that Aries pioneering, initiating energy is wanting to align with that grounded, secure-oriented, beauty-loving, life-enjoying, emotional sign in the Western Taurus is wanting to align. This is really important because over our lifetime, our lunar new years are all about where we are in that ego-soul relationship. We all know or have seen elderly people who are either one or the other. Elderly people who clearly are still having great difficulty and great challenge and great emotional strain with regard to one issue or another in their lives. More than likely, mama drama or daddy drama induced trauma. We also know elderly people who are very much at peace and are expert at putting other people at peace. They have aligned those energies, whether they have done so consciously or unconsciously. It has to do with each year going deeper and deeper into the internal space that we all share and that we all have individually in order to bring us into a higher sense of awareness of our divinity. Now, we know here that we talk about our divinity because we are actively healing from mama drama trauma. It is a condition in which the mother projects unhealed aspects of herself onto her child, causing emotional and or physical trauma. Because of this experience, we do not believe that we can break the cycle. In fact, it is so conditioned and ingrained in us, we perpetuate it. And that is the nature of mama drama trauma. However, here, Great Mother is speaking to us to remind us that as the mother of all mothers, we are truly dearly loved divine children of the Great Mother, Father God, who are never condemned, never judged, or left alone. So when we talk about the lunar readings, we're talking about going deeper into that space that allows us to get in touch with that soul strength that came here to have the experience of mama drama trauma. That's right. It is a soul contract in order for our souls to develop in self-love and spiritual independence. Now, collectively, for your moon sign this year, as with all years, it does begin with your new moon in Taurus. Lunar New Year's begin with the new moon. However, instead of going into the crescent phase, the planning and plotting phase, it goes into the balsamic phase, the completion, the recuperation, the rest phase. So this is where you will be. The Taurus moon will be in the balsamic moon phase next month in June. Over the next 12 months until you arrive at the crescent moon in April, which is where Taurus was last month. This is how you use these readings. Speaking of April, Taurus was in the crescent moon, that planting, that nurturing moon, which was an opportune time to plant your wishes. The Aries new moon wishes for you had to do with healing emotional wounds and being eager to be open to a new day, to be open to new experiences. And in that reading, it was really quite clear that you were developing an openness, a freedom, and a liberation with regard to a relationship. Perhaps your relationship with your birth mother, surrogate, or adoptive mother, so that you could express yourself more authentically and be in real time with regard to your feelings. Now, we know Taurus moon sign people are very methodical in terms of how they process their emotions. It takes a while to come to a decision about something, and once a relationship is established, it is established. It takes a very long time to release that relationship, that loyalty, that emotional loyalty, not codependency, but that fixed earth energy. That is the ego emotion that feels that it cannot stop the cycle of mama drama trauma. However, the sidereal soul sign of Aries is pioneering. It's an initiating spirit, and it came through in that Scorpio full moon reading just 2 weeks ago with emancipation, with a readiness and an openness to heal, even if it meant surrendering to the reality of the nature of the relationship. Now, you might even want to go back and look at the new moon wishes yourself on Aries new moon reading a month ago when the new moon was in Aries. New moon wishes for your lunar year are wishes that you really want to establish as it relates to your reading. So I'll leave those to you. Again, I will offer some suggestions, but be sure that when you do make your wishes during the new moon, there are no more than 10, and that you follow the basic instructions so that the energy is culminated around your wish for the year, and Great Mother can work with you with regard to those specific issues. Now, with no further ado, this is your Great Mother Speaks Lunar New Year reading for Aries, Taurus, moon sign people. Okay, Aries, Taurus, moon sign people, want to make sure that you check the links below. You may be Taurus in your sidereal as well. In that case, well, of course, you want to look at the Aries Lunar New Year video for you. And check out a Great Mother Speaks reading, because you're going to need some more personal placements. And of course, everyone needs that. You don't want to do readings based on one aspect. Of course, with the moon sign readings, we look at your nodes, your north and your south nodes. We look at your actual lunar house. These readings are based on first house general collective readings and general lunar house readings. Of course, with the Taurus new moon, it's in your first house, being a general reading. But your moon sign may actually be in your third house, your fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, first or second house. And that would vary what you are receiving in this reading today. Now, if you're seeing this before the Mother's Day holiday, well, you can take advantage of the Mother's Day reading special if you like. It's an awesome special. People are getting that as a gift for their mothers, for their daughters who are mothers, for their fathers who are mothers. And so that's just a gift from me to you for Mother's Day. Now, I want to let you know that when we do the new moon readings every month, let's kind of adjust this a little bit so we can see a little bit better. When we do the new moon readings, what we're doing is we're actively planting and plotting for the next lunar cycle. It's a energy that is consciously working with the lunar cycle. With your lunar year reading, you are getting a peek into what's actually happening in the internal emotional space as it relates to what Great Mother, that soul energy, is expressing through you over the course of a year. So in other words, the new moon readings, the new moon wishes that we do are very active energies that are brought to consciousness. Again, these start with the new moon in Taurus. As I see here, I see self-mothering, then they go to balsamic, okay, and then they go to third quarter moon, etc., going deeper and deeper into our internal space. And so you want to look at these readings, in other words, throughout the year, make notations of the main messages for each month so that you can align your new moon wishes each month with what Great Mother's coming through and saying to you in your Lunar New Year reading. For example, for you Aries, Taurus moon people, I would focus on, of course, this month, Taurus, May, July. August is a particularly important month for you, as well as October, November, and February. So again, if you want to jot down, and I suggest getting the graphic of the lunar cycle by Spiral Spectrum that I showed you in the opening, as well as the calendar that she does, the coloring book calendar. because you can write these things out and work with these energies throughout the year and see what's really happening. Really make your notes, really pay attention to what's going on. You will grow and you will see things in leaps and bounds. And so I'm just getting started with May. Okay, and I'm just writing down some things. I'm going to write down more after I do your reading. But those are tools, just like this deck is a tool for us to go into that space with some bearings, okay, with some true bearings. And so May, you're opening up this Lunar New Year with Great Mother saying how important it is for you to self-mother. This Lunar New Year on the 15th is conjunct Uranus moving into Taurus. So powerfully emotional time for you. It is a time where you will probably have some sudden awarenesses about exactly why and how you need to self-mother at this time. You will get perhaps some blockages broken that you've had emotionally as it relates to accepting the fact that you do need to take care of yourself. No one else is going to do that for you. Uranus has been in Aries in the tropical for 7 years. And so we've had a lot of very self-focused, initiating, pioneering, collective consciousness energies going on. And now that it's moving into Taurus, your moon sign conjunct, as you plan for this Lunar New Year, coming up from what happened during the Scorpio full moon for you, this emancipation that you experienced in terms of clarifying your intention as it relates to your mother, as it relates to someone else who's close to you that has that same type of secure, connected relationship with you. Were redefining some things. You were reevaluating some things. Great Mother is saying to you that in May, it's going to be particularly important that the attention is focused toward regrounding yourself through self-care, radical self-care. This is the full moon root chakra card. The root chakra is ruled by Saturn, which rules Capricorn and Aquarius in the sidereal. Capricorn is, that hard working sign, it's being practical. And so you're really needing to be practical. You're really needing to pay attention to that. This is a full moon, hearkening back to that full moon in August on the 29th in Scorpio as it relates to your eagerness to explore each new day. And so Great Mother's coming through and she's saying that for May, with this Uranus conjunction, it's important for you to see each new day as an opportunity to love yourself, to mother yourself, to take care of yourself in ways that you have not before, but in exactly the way that you need to. This is opening up your emotional, intuitive new year. Your Aries moon sign, if you're Aries moon sign in the sidereal, is going to give you a lot of direction. You've probably already received that direction. Uranus is still in Aries in the sidereal, and so it's really going to be very clear to you. It's a full moon card again about exactly how to do that. You've already been going through a redrafting and a reassessing of what's important to you in your relationships, and so this full moon card during your new moon is shining the light on that for you. In June, we see the rebirth card. Now, June is a time for you to kind of rest from all of this plotting and planning and redrafting that you've been doing over the previous month, and to really get into kind of recuperating from all this emotional work that you've been doing, Aries, Taurus, Moon people. It's a rebirth period, and this is a balsamic moon card during the balsamic phase of Taurus in June. So Great Mother is really emphasizing that at this particular time, you will be undergoing a period of regeneration, of resurrection from one person to another person internally. Internally, you will feel like an entirely new person, entirely different person. Your divine expression has to do with your ability to really articulate what that newness is for you, and to be able to do that from your soul space. The balsamic moon is all about downloading, getting clear downloads again for you from that Aries space that is very clear now about how your close relationships, if not with your mother, needs to shift in order to serve you well. Your focus is self-mothering, and so therefore you are expressing yourself in new ways. In the past, you may not have expressed your needs and your wants as clearly. But with Uranus and Taurus, that second house energy is all about our needs, our wants, our possessions, what we value. And so Uranus is sudden changes. It represents electricity, technology, things that suddenly occur, innovations. And so this is an internal innovation for you in June. Now, in July, I said this is one of the months you want to pay attention to, just like May, and you have another full moon card. And so this full moon is hearkening to not only the full moon that opened up your Lunar New Year, Aries, Taurus moon people, but this full moon in Gildectus synthesis is also hearkening to you paying attention to the full moon in July. The full moon in July is a total lunar eclipse. And so Great Mother has a full moon card here for you with the third eye. The third eye is ruled by the moon, and this eclipse is in Cancer, Capricorn. The sun is in Cancer and the moon is in Capricorn. So Cancer, that maternal energy again, shining a light on that Capricorn moon, that dutiful, that purposeful, that working, Saturn ruled energy. Full moon, Gildectus, things are coming together for you at this time. What does a total lunar eclipse do? You want to check out the video in the link below, total lunar eclipse defined, or Lunar Totality is the name of the video that explains what they are. But in brief, a total lunar eclipse is when the sun eclipses the moon. So that's during the full moon, as opposed to when the moon during the day eclipses the sun and we see the blackening out. Okay, that is a solar eclipse. This is a lunar eclipse, the end of July, the 27th, 28th of July, in which the sun will eclipse the moon in a volcanic purge. There are volcanoes occurring at the time of this reading in Hawaii. And so that gives you a visual sense of really the power behind this particular time, the energy behind this particular time, and what it really means for you with regard to things coming together at this particular time. And what's coming together is that Cancer energy is cleansing out the overly dutiful Capricorn energy. In other words, that need to take care of others, making other people feel comfortable. As your new divine expression came into being in June, in July, there will be a cleansing of whatever still remains of taking care of others before you take care of yourself. Okay, and so that inner soul eye ruled by the moon is in Capricorn, and it is being eclipsed by the sun, full moon sun. The moon is reflecting the sun in Cancer, that mothering, that self-mothering energy. This is extremely powerful. During this time, we see that with this Cancer Capricorn total lunar eclipse, we are getting a preview of the next nodal season, which begins in November. Right now, the nodes are still North Node, Leo, South Node, Aquarius, but in November, they will switch to Cancer, Capricorn. So this is your prelude in July, another important month for you, of emotionally what that space is eternally will be like for you in the coming 2 years as it relates to taking care of yourself, regrounding yourself and your own emotional security and your own intuitive trust of what you know. As you begin to recreate in this synthesis and things coming together for you with regard to your self-care, with regard to your radical self-mothering efforts and what you need to do to make sure you're okay. In August, Another important month for you, Taurus will be in the third quarter moon phase. In the third quarter moon phase, we see that you're going to be working with perhaps feeling some backlash, as we see in the card of self-inquiry. Self-inquiry always invites us to take a look at the criticisms we may be facing, the misunderstanding from other people that we may be experiencing as a result of our choices to focus on ourselves. And that is a balsamic moon card. And so you're still kind of resting in that, and you're still kind of recuperating from the previous year, even into August. But what happens with third quarter moon energy is that there's a release, isn't there? There is a forgiveness of oneself and of others. And so that third quarter moon energy is going to allow you to do some further release and follow up to the July total lunar eclipse in Cancer Capricorn. So you'll get the preview of what to expect in terms of the internal energies towards self-care and self-mothering augmenting over the next 2 years. In July, you'll get a preview of that. But you will also start to actually enjoy taking care of yourself in July, because it's going to be a boost. Now, all of our eclipses up to this time have been in Leo, Aquarius, Sun in Leo, Moon in Aquarius, Moon in Aquarius, Sun in Leo, and to do that for 18 months during the period of the nodal season, which again, Leo Aquarius ends in November and Cancer Capricorn comes in for the next 18 months. That's why we can say over a period of 2 years, this preview that you get in July is going to let you know what to expect over the next 2 years. And as a result of you enjoying this, you've listened to your reading, you've gotten clearer about what your new moon wishes will be in July, what your new moon wishes will be in June as a result of this, what your new moon wishes will be in May as a result of this. By August, when we have a partial solar eclipse, which, partials are not as important, so we're not going to talk about that so much, but it is the last eclipse of this eclipse season. The focus for you is this self-inquiry. It is release. It is forgiveness, because there may be some guilt feelings coming up as a result of things coming together for you. And Aries, Taurus moon people can struggle sometimes with letting go of things that no longer serve you, including relationships, including people and situations that may not be the best for you or to you. So again, we work through these things internally until they're completely expunged, don't we? Now, turning the corner from your first quarter lunar year into September, what we see here is Brigade, the selfhood card. So all of these full moon cards for you are really pointing to the fact that there's going to be a lot of illumination, a lot of clarity that comes to you this year, Aries, Taurus moon people. And this full moon throat chakra card is all about taking your power back. It's about speaking your truth. It's about, in September, you really being grateful for the truth about your life, about how you want to relate to people, and how you are going about healing your emotional wounds, being something that you appreciate, being something that you are owning, okay? And that is all having to do with you coming into this understanding that it is about you first. It is about what you need first. This is under the self-mothering card, and self-mothering, just going into this after the first quarter, coming at the beginning of the second quarter, is re-emphasizing your need to do that and to focus on you. Now, during this period in September, when we have this full moon, the full moon is actually going to be in Aries. And so that means that it's in Pisces in the sidereal. Now, that's 12th house energy for you, Pisces in the sidereal, Aries in the western. So this is, again, full moon energy, cleansing and letting go. That might require some conversation, as indicated by the 5th chakra. That might require some listening, as indicated by the 5th chakra. 5th chakra, people often forget, includes the ears. When you think of the fifth chakra, you can also think of the ear, nose, throat doctor. So that might be a period of communication for you, both internally and in your external world, about what your needs and your wants are, how they've changed, and being excited about sharing how this is serving you and how this new way of being is serving others. This is, after all, in a waning gibbous moon phase. And so that's the sharing and Thanksgiving moon phase for Taurus in September. October, another important month for you. Taurus now is the full moon. So this full moon in Taurus is all about illuminating the divine law of Great Mother. The divine law is about intuiting and acting on what we intuit. So Mary, the Mother Divine, is an energy about listening to what that internal space is saying and acting on that fully. October is going to be a very important month for you to do that, as you have been receiving a lot of internal encouragement to focus on yourself and to release the judgments of others and to articulate what needs to be said. There are going to be some new things that come up for you in October in this full moon. The full moon means that, of course, there's a sunlight shining. And so the sun will be actually in Scorpio during the full moon. And when the sun is in Scorpio, it's really encouraging us to shine a light on what needs to die, what needs to be released, what needs to be let go. This is important because as the moon is in Taurus, it's your halfway mark of the year. This is the 6-month period. And so October is important because it's the Taurus full moon, which is encouraging you to really let go of anything that is preventing you, Law of Divine Father, Mary the Mother card, of acting on what you know at this time. You've had 6 months to really build up to this intuitive space and to gain confidence by focusing on it through your new moon wishes and seeing through the lunar cycles what Great Mother has said to you and how she has supported you through this. And at that halfway mark, six-month part through the Law of Divine Father, you're really going to be able to act on it in all areas of your life, internally as well as externally. Now, November, coming after that full moon in October, is almost equally important because Pachamama in November is about leaving a bad situation behind. And so maybe after that full moon illumination, acting on what you know, there may be an end of a relationship, or as we say with Mama Drama Trauma, a period of loving detachment. That is when we take the time and space we need in order to heal ourselves of the triggers which keep us caught in the cycle of Mama Drama Trauma. This is a root chakra waning gibbous moon card. So this is about sharing and Thanksgiving. And so it's a gratitude about what you've learned. There's not sadness about this. This is about going toward what you need to reground yourself towards. On the 7th of November is when the nodes do shift into Cancer, Capricorn in the tropical and Gemini, Sagittarius in the sidereal. So this nodal shift is a revisionary period for you. And in order for you to revise, as we say with Mama Drama Trauma, the period of loving detachment is the period in which we learn how to accept what is, the reality that the mother that we want does not exist. The fantasy of who we want our mother to be does not exist. And we need time to take that in. Okay, we tend to live in a fantasy world. Your fantasy world may be with a spouse, it may be with a coworker, it may be in a professional relationship. But since we're focusing on mama drama trauma, this tells me that if it has to do with your mother, Earth Mother is really coming through for you to say, come to me, ground yourself in me through the fairies, the ground, the tree, the seas. And so in November, that might be a time for you to take a ski trip or go to a warm place or do something that's going to ground you in nature. Really go out in the fall leaves, that type of thing. Because when these nodes shift, you're going to be reinvigorated with this July energy that came up just above here with synthesis. It's going to harken back to, remember, the preview of Cancer Capricorn. Now it's actually in Cancer Capricorn in November as of the 7th. And as a result of that, what you may have seen in preview with regard to your relationship that you weren't fully able to activate because of some of the criticism of not fully taking yourself back and articulating what needed to be articulated and acting on that, now you are. So it may not actually be leaving a relationship if it's not loving detachment. Loving detachment is emotional and or physical detachment from the drama mama for the period of time necessary for you to not be triggered by the disorder. Okay, and so everybody individually, it takes whatever time that it takes. Now, it could just be, for there to be stronger boundaries established in the relationship and articulated in the relationship. You will determine that through the course of the year, Aries, Taurus, Moon people, through your new moon wishes. And again, working each month with Great Mother, seeing in your full moon readings as well of what has taken root and what is growing and what will be withering away into the next new moon. Because in December, you're going to find by the end of the year that there is a great opening. And this does relate to the new moon wish that you had with the Aries new moon right before your lunar new year, with being open to changes, being open to a new life, being eager to explore each new day with that Sheila Nagig open card. So December is going to allow you to really breathe into that space, really live into that space. We started off in Aries with the internal desire and wish for our emotions. See, the moon sign is what inspires the sun sign. So the sun sign is our soul personality. Okay, we all have a unique personality, but the moon sign is what the moon's energy is. And so how it is and how it feels is how the sun, what inspires the sun to behave. What inspires the sun to do what it does, how it does it. And so as the Lunar New Year progresses into the mid-year and post-mid-year, we're starting to see perhaps some materialized results of the internal work that you've been doing. Maybe you are opening yourself to receive love from other maternal figures in your life. Maybe you are opening yourself to share love now that you have spent so much time loving and focusing on yourself with your children and coworkers in new ways. So this is a tremendously beautiful year with regard to what is coming of the wishes that were established in the Aries new moon. Now, the May new moon having to do with self-mothering really does focus in again on what those wishes were over the previous month, as we'll see as we get to the end of this reading going into Aries of 2019. Before we do, looking at January, you're going to be very clear about where you've come and where you want to go. It's going to be extremely clear to you. You're going to be able to see beyond whatever may be perhaps a disingenuous type of an approach to you as a result of the work that you've been doing. And you're going to just see what's real and what's not real. You know, who's really in your corner and who's not, who's loyal to you and who's not. You've spent so much time and so much energy being and doing that for others. That's going to become so much clearer for you, Aries, Taurus, Moon people, in the new year. Now, I'm seeing this is a new moon card. So perhaps the new moon for you in Capricorn is going to also offer you some insights about what to leave behind, as Capricorn will be in the South Node. Okay, South Node is soul energy, about what to leave behind. And so what are you intuiting about what needs to be left behind will come through to you in this new moon through your Taurus energy. Now, through your Aries energy, what you're going to see with regard to the Gemini Sagittarius, with the Sagittarius in the South Node, is probably what to leave behind in terms of things that you before thought that you knew. Okay, and that's taking everything to a whole different level. It's a revisionary period for you, because in fact this is the waxing gibbous moon phase for Taurus during the time of January. It is a waxing gibbous period, and so you will be revising, you'll be reevaluating where you are with this year, and in terms of what you know now. Okay, that always goes to a deeper, more consciously elevated level as we work with our lunar years, and what you know on a soul level grows when the ego aligns with it. It grows deeper and deeper and deeper, which is why we are here having a material experience. February is an important month for you as you get very clear about what is and what is not real. Now that you know what is real and who is real, you will, during this Taurus first quarter moon period in February, really even look beyond the illusion even more. You will, Pele is the Hawaiian goddess of the volcanoes. And so we have this volcanic energy for you for your entire year. And it comes up here in February to let you know that it's time for you to awaken, to truly acknowledge, now that you have this new awareness, now that you are seeing beyond the veil, now that you are expressing yourself and you're taking care of yourself, who you really are, how you really feel. It's time to really not ignore that any longer. Trust your gut, your visceral responses that you're having around people in situations of the past a year ago, and how you're feeling in those situations now. Okay, maybe you're much more confident, and you really are, if you have been working with what Great Mother is saying is coming through for you this year. And maybe what prior to this time in February 2019, you weren't too sure about what you were about. Now you really are. It's time for you to really assert that, because first quarter moon energy, which is Taurus, is in the first quarter during the month of February. When the moon goes around into the constellation of Taurus, it will be first quarter moon energy, which is all about making a decision to face a challenge and acting on that. So you have made a decision over this year, Aries, Taurus moon people, to face the challenge of really regrounding yourself in radical self-care, taking care of yourself, and balancing that with relationships that have been meaningful to you, but when necessary, letting go of the hold that those relationships have on you if they take you out of your divinity, and being open to finding love where it truly is, as opposed to where it may have been in the past, so that you can truly awaken to who you are and what you are about now. That's what's most important to Great Mother. That is what is most important to soul development and soul evolution. And as you act on this decision in February, you may find that there is unexpected support available to you, not only from a greater intuitive sense, as you've been building your intuition over the past year with your new moon wishes and your full moon recognizance. You will also be able to accept where you are. You may not be exactly where you want to be with regard to self-mothering. You may still have aspirations to take it even deeper, but you will be able to act on whatever challenges you may still be having with regard to that in February with confidence. So that in March, as you are actually receiving the benefit of having done that, this self-compassion of Kuan Yin in this heart chakra crescent moon card will allow you to go from that gut chakra crescent energy to the heart chakra of saying, hey, I can integrate all aspects of myself. I know my evolution is a process. I know my self-love, radical self-care is a uniquely designed method for me. And I'm just becoming familiar with that. I'm just becoming aware of that. And so I'm integrating aspects of myself I didn't even know existed. In my work, I do an exercise called the bust with clients, in which we look at personalities that are riding along our unconscious bus. And oftentimes when we do this kind of a transpersonal psychology type of a technique, we find out that there are all sorts of aspects of ourselves that support us along our journey. And what we may have been intuiting because of a lack of intuitive development that you're doing over this new year, when this type of work and internal work is lacking, many times we will sense that support as internal criticism, as internal condemnation, because we are really listening to the voice of conditioning that we have had from mama drama trauma, and that filter is blurry. The filter is not clear because it's not based on our divinity. But when we get the filter clear, even those personalities who may be from our shadow side, again, the shadow side gives us our deepest awareness. Our new moon is the dark moon, gives us the greatest internal light, in which we are able to see how those personalities, even those personalities on our bus, are specifically designed to assist us. And so as we see in this Kuan Yin card, as Dorothy meets the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion, she's integrating aspects of her mind, of her heart, okay, of her gut, knowing that she's alienated herself from as a result of not taking care of herself. And that's what we do along the yellow brick road of loving detachment, which is what your year is all about. It's about lovingly detaching from a situation that you recognize is not giving you the support and the love that you need. And so therefore this year you are learning to do that to and for yourself. So as the year ends for you, Aries, Taurus moon people, in April, you return full circle to the Emancipation card. The Emancipation card is the card that opened up your Scorpio full moon reading on April 29th. And in fact, it's where you return full circle at a whole new level, at a whole new elevated sense of emancipation. This is the crescent planting nurturing moon of Taurus in Aries. Once again, the Aries sun is that pioneering sun. In the sidereal, it'll be in Pisces, that sun, and the moon, of course, in Aries. And so what we want to do during April is really take a breath. You've been doing so much work, and the sun in the Western is in Aries at that time, as it just was. And that full moon will again be in Scorpio, more than likely. Sometimes that changes a bit, but it'll be in Scorpio, and it will be a time where it'll be in Libra or Scorpio. And it will be a time where you will be able to really balance and purify your entire journey as you plant seeds for your next lunar year. You'll be taking a breath at the end, Aries, Taurus moon people, and returning back home at a whole new elevated level of internal freedom and liberation. What a yellow brick road journey for you. This is awesome. I'm so happy and excited for your year over the next 12 months. And remember to stay tuned for your third quarter readings, which will be coming up here in June. We had our second quarter readings, I believe, in March. And so those give you the outlook for the next 3 months. July, August, September, in the interim of the end of the eclipse season here in Leo Aquarius. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, and liking. But above all and most of all, remember, Great Mother loves you, and I do too.
Great Mother speaks. I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon.